solitary confinement is well documented, whether we're looking at psychology or psychiatry, that this causes a very real, very measurable harm on adults. It also is, that's what's within the exhibits are examples of different branches of science, of medicine, calling for the cessation of solitary confinement. Why? Because we know it harms adults, we also know it harms children. And these studies are looking at harms that exist after 48 hours of solitary confinement. This particular child, and yes, I know he's a defendant, an adult by the court's view, but this child has been sitting in solitary in his forms cumulatively over 400 days. Now, in first instance, it was for his protection because there was concern for suicidal ideations. And then on the second instance, it was concerns of harm to others, and then threats to himself. Now, a lot of these threats are born because of the media attention to the case, so his name is well known. In Duval, this case is well known also here in St. Johns County. But there are other counties that he can be housed in, and it has been that I've seen with my own experience where defendants are moved for their protection. Whether they're moved within the circuit or outside the circuit, it is not uncommon for defendants to be moved, or sheriffs will trade defendants to keep that individual safe. But that option hasn't been practiced in this particular instance. What's been done is that he's been held without an ability to congregate or meet with other individuals, without eye contact with other individuals for an extensive period of time. So the worst form of solitary that's out there would be no sight, no sound, and that's not what he has. Meaning he can see other officers because they will bring him food. But it's still a form of solitary confinement. And solitary confinement, whether you're looking at psychiatry or psychology, is a form, or its results, is a harm that can only be considered a punishment. If you look at a case like Chambers v. Florida, and this is from 1940, that the technique of solitary confinement was considered at that point as a form of mental torture or physical torture the government used to coerce confessions. So it's not a debate or a question as to whether or not it's a form of torture, because it's well recognized within the law. If we're looking at United Nations, it is. Is it permissible in the state of Florida? And again, I have to say yes, it is. The case law permits it. But the issue is that we're now looking at a child that is being tortured in this form of solitary confinement. Although it is legal, he's still being tortured and punished when he hasn't been convicted. He hasn't been tried. No jury has been sworn. He hasn't even entered in a change of plea or a guilty plea and moved forward towards a sentencing. And for that reason, I'm bringing the court's attention to this and asking that consideration be made for alternative housing. Again, the court cannot tell the county jail to move him or tell the sheriff because the separation of power is very clear. All that I can do is what I'm doing, and that's ringing the bell and sounding the alarm as to what's happening to Hayden Bucci. We've been in contact with the sheriff, St. Johns County Sheriff, and with the Duval County Sheriff on this issue. And there's been no change. And I've provided the case law. I've provided the rules that they're relying on for this detention and the legality of it. But again, we can't ignore the harm of it in light of alternatives. Duval County Jail is not the only jail in the state of Florida. I am unaware as to why he was moved there, and they don't have to disclose that, meaning the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. But there are other county jails he can be moved to. And that's what I'm asking for consideration, that there are juveniles held in other locations in the 7th Circuit. and beyond. So right now, he's been moved out of the Seventh Circuit into the Fourth at Duval County Jail. That's the Fourth Circuit, and we're asking for consideration of his transfer to another location that would be safe and humane. And that's not to say that the intent of the Duval or the St. Johns County Jail is not his safety. It's my understanding he's there for his safety, but at the same time, this measure to protect him from other inmates is causing a harm.